Hello and welcome to Metal Vice, a podcast where we talk about all things music.
Well, the things we care about.
That's right, which is mainly metal music and live music. I'm your host, Brian, joined with your other host,
Karen.
And what is this episode all about, Karen?
We went to see the Folkfest of the North at Outset Chicago.
Yeah, this was March 6th. The bands, I'm going to do my best here. Korpiklaani?
I think it's Korpiklaani.
Korpiklaani, Korpiklaani, and then Ensiferum.
I think so. Yeah.
Followed by Trollfest, and then Nini.
Trollfest.
Trollfest and Nini.
Yes.
That was starting at the top of the bill, working its way down. And I think this was kind of a co-headliner between Korpiklaani and Ensiferum.
Yes, the two Finnish bands.
Yeah. Yeah. And as you said, this was, and sorry for butchering those names.
Yeah, sorry. There's a little bit on this that there's a lot of Finnish words and Finnish names that we can't pronounce very well.
So apologies ahead of time there.
Yes.
As you said, this was at the Outset here in Chicago, a new venue that we haven't been to.
Yeah.
So we'll talk a little bit about that here shortly. And then ticket prices real quick before diving into that were $30 with $12.40 in fees and a whopping 30 cents in tax. But a 41% fee rate. Holy shit.
Yeah. So at first when you look at that, like $30 for 4 bands is fucking awesome.
Yeah.
But then when you look that you pay 41% in fees, that just fucking sucks.
$45 basically.
Yeah.
But still, that's not bad.
It's not bad, but why do you have to pay 41% in fees?
Yeah, like exactly. What's that $12 or $15 going towards, right? Yeah, that's a little frustrating for sure. Outset though, let's, I guess, talk about that venue a little bit. You looked it up while we were there. They opened in August of 2024.
No, the last weekend of July 2024. I thought August was their first show, but they had their opening weekend was the last weekend of July
of 2024.
Of 2024. So they're a very new venue.
Very new venue.
Yeah.
You can tell it's new venue. It looks like it's sort of in an industrial area of town. There's definitely a lot of like older shops that are over there.
I wonder what that neighborhood would be considered.
I don't know.
Like on Elston, North Avenue and Elston kind of ish.
Yeah.
In a way.
So it's maybe a mile northwest of Salt Shed.
No, I wouldn't even say a mile. It's probably not a mile.
But it's close to that. It's not that far, but it's also a little bit of a ways.
Yeah, maybe a half a mile from Salt Shed.
Yeah, so
like it's not that far. So
it's really not that far, but it's right around that same general area, just northwest of that, toward the interstate.
Yeah, and that's also the area that they're building the casino in a way on the
south side. The casino was south of
the Salt Shed.
Okay.
So what I'm saying is like that little area, they're kind of building these newer things. So I'm wondering if because if you're gonna come to the area, like it's probably not that far of a walk to go from
I don't know
even
exactly
the casino
where the
to
casino's
Salt
gonna
Shed
be.
to this.
Yeah.
So
I don't know exactly where the casino's going to be, so it will be interesting for sure.
Yeah.
I would imagine it's quite a bit of a hefty walk from the casino to
I think it's north of Division, and it's not that bad of a walk from Division to North Avenue. No.
Okay.
No.
All right. I have never walked that, so I don't know. I know the first time we walked to...
You've walked Division to North Avenue a lot when we lived over there.
All right, I don't know. Maybe I have. I don't know. Any case... we've walked over to the Salt Shed a lot, or the few times we've been there. And how we typically get to the Salt Shed is we take the L up to North Avenue. Typically, there's that red line that gets off right there. So then we'll walk from the red line over there, which isn't a bad walk.
No.
But the last time we did it, it was hot as shit.
Yeah.
In the middle of the day, like, the sun beating down on you. So that can be a bit annoying. But it's really not that bad of a walk.
No.
The first time we walked, it was also cold, I think. The first show we went to, and we're like, fuck, no, it wasn't. Every show we've been to has been nice out.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it's been nice.
But that first time, we're like, shit, this is a shitty walk. Second, I'm like, it's not that bad.
Well, the first time we overshot it. So we had to like kind of backtrack a little bit.
That's right. We found a better way to get there.
Yeah. So, and then this venue is you have to go like 3 blocks further west, and then you turn north
by
for
like
a half
2
a block.
blocks or something.
Like a half a block or something. Yeah. So they're very close to each other. It's just getting out there. I mean, there is a bus also, the North Avenue bus you can take.
But if you're hitting if you're hitting rush hour traffic,
like we did
that bus might not be a wise decision. So we walk it all every time.
Yeah. So like I remember last time when we were going to take the bus and like the traffic was just so heavy, like we beat the bus.
Yeah.
So.
And we also stopped at Epic Burger on the way there for dinner real quick.
We did this time. Yeah.
So that made the walk a little, breaking the walk up and whatnot. But all I'm trying to say is that it's really not that bad to get there.
No, it's not.
From public transit.
Yeah. And I don't know from, like, if you're coming from the west or, like, even driving in, I don't know how that would be.
I don't think
there's parking around there. I think that's the biggest thing.
Yeah, I can't speak to parking. Yeah. We did talk to one couple there from Peoria. Not a couple, there were a couple of friends that were there from Peoria.
Just calling them a couple.
Yeah.
Two people
who are from Peoria. That they parked outside, and she was a little worried about the park. She's like, I don't know if that's a good spot to park.
Yeah.
And I honestly couldn't tell her, like,
I know.
Yeah, it is or isn't, but...
I just made the comment, like, we don't drive in the city.
Yeah.
Like, we live in the city, we own a car, but we do not drive. So...
But the venue seems really cool.
Yeah.
It's sort of like in this older sort of... It feels older from the outside in the whole area. But when you get inside, it's definitely not. It's very, I want to say, kind of fancy looking inside.
Yeah, a little fancy. Yeah.
They got like this wood sort of siding all around the inside of it, probably to help with noise dampening and whatnot.
Assuming, yeah. Instead of having like brick or something.
But a cool aesthetic as well. Yeah. They have a whole outside area as well that if it's warm, nice weather, it looks like they're going to open that up and you can have like a little beer garden type thing.
Yep.
People were going in and out for like smoking.
You can go in and out for smoking right there.
So unfortunately, we didn't get to hang out in that outside area too much.
It
looked really cool.
Yeah, they even had it blocked off to not allow people to walk into it. But maybe we'll get to go back to a concert there in the summer or like during a summertime and see what it's like.
They don't seem to have a whole lot of like metal shit out there yet, but hopefully soon they'll add more.
Yeah.
This is also owned by the same people who own the Radius here in town, which is one of our favorite venues here in the city for sure.
And it's great to have independently owned venues instead of like Live Nation venues.
Yeah, so. It's like a group of people who own it.
Like three
individuals or something. Yeah. So that's awesome. The Radius is awesome. We love that. This venue was cool too.
Yeah, smaller.
It's definitely smaller. It felt like a Vic almost, maybe a little smaller than the Vic. House of Blues, maybe a good House of Blues size.
Maybe not as long as House of Blues though. Like if you just have like the little divot thing. I was thinking kind of like a Concord, but like the bar would have taken up that whole back spot. Yeah,
this is probably a little smaller than Concord too.
Yeah.
It's weird. Yeah, it's a smaller venue for sure. Trying to find one to compare it to that we've been to.
Yeah, because the floor is really small.
It is. They do have a balcony that you can go up to with a railing that sort of overlooks.
But it's not small like a Subterranean or what's that other one? Bee Kitchen, because it's not like in a long building. It's in an older warehouse, like remodeled warehouse type building. So it does have the width of a building. The floor is wide.
Yeah. When you first walk in, they have this massive fucking bar.
Yeah,
in the center.
It's way too big.
It's way too big, but I was trying to think about that more. It is back, so like you're under the floor or the roof for like, or I guess the floor for the balcony.
Yeah.
But it is a pretty large bar, and the soundstage was right in front of that, which wasn't really a built-in soundstage. It just had like a barrier up around where the people who were working the lights and the sound could sit. I felt like that was a little too big as well because it took up a lot of room on the floor. So unless you wanted to fight your way back up front, you're going to hang back here, which wasn't horrible. It was a good view of the stage back there. Good sound quality back there as well.
So at House of Blues, what I hate is like when you go to the balcony or like if you're under that part that is like the balcony where like the bar area is so dampened. Like the sound is dampened. And I don't feel like this building was that way at all. Yeah. Like you could hear just perfectly fine in the back as well as up front.
And even in the balcony, like there were a couple times we were in the balcony in the back, couldn't see the stage at all. Yeah. But like the music you could hear fine, perfectly.
Yeah.
And there's another bar up there. That's where your restrooms are as well. There were some restrooms down below, but it looks like they had those blocked off.
Yeah. So I think it's like more of like an ADA type restroom.
Oh, okay.
Because it seems like it's a one person thing, like where the door locks sort of thing. I mean, obviously people found out it was a restroom, so they were utilizing it, but I think it was more So, because otherwise the restrooms are upstairs and there's no elevator. And I guess that's the other thing, like not talking about restrooms, but the stairways is they're on both sides of the building.
Yep. But, and they had sort of a barrier blocking off so people wouldn't block the stairs, which was nice to get in there and get up. But again, I felt like that took away some of the floor space where you could have viewed. And
it was difficult to get around that during some parts. It was difficult. Other parts it was, like the crowd would thin out or whatever, it was fine. And we were talking that it would be better if the stairs were the opposite, where it was like you walk up the stairs from like as you're facing the stage instead of having to turn around and walk up the stairs.
So the stairwells were on, your left and right side of the building. And you're right. Like as you walk down the stairs onto the main floor, you're now staring directly at the stage. Yeah. Where if you would have reversed those and had to walk up from the back where the bar is and go up, I feel like that would have been better
for the flow
of traffic and whatnot. But then if you think about it, then when you get to the top, now you're leaving onto the front of the balcony where people are going to be gathered around there. So I don't know if it's necessarily a good. I guess. I don't know what's better.
Yeah, what's better? Yeah.
But that was one, not complaint, but one thing that was at times not even frustrating, just sort of like an inconvenience. But
almost. This also wasn't a sold out show. So if you got to think,
it felt like it was.
I know. It felt so close to it.
Yeah.
So like if you did have a sold out show, I'm assuming they sell like all that area behind the bar, like for capacity wise, like I'm sure that counts.
And the balcony.
And the whole balcony probably counts. And really on the balcony, maybe 2 rows of people you can see.
I think
so. And then you can't
you have the people on the balcony hanging on the rail and then the people directly behind them. Yeah. And then after that, you can't really see much.
No.
So
it's almost like a Vic. Like that's what I don't like about like the Riviera or the Vic is like once you get to those upper levels, like if there's anybody if you're the second or third row back, you can't see anything.
Oh, you mean on the floor?
On the floor.
Like those,
yeah.
Because I was like, the Riviera has the seats. Top.
Not
like,
the,
you can see perfectly
not the balcony.
There.
Sorry. Like on the main floor of Riviera and Vic, they have like they have steps or like tiers, but if you're not one of the first people in the tier, you can't see.
Yeah. But all in all, the little tiny nitpicking complaints that we're having. All in all, though, I still really did enjoy this venue. I thought it was really cool. I thought it was really well done. It sounded great. All the way there in the back, you could see the stage and hear the music well. So the balcony, not so much.
Yeah.
And we talked about like that's where the merch for this time was, on the other side of the bar or across from the bar up in the balcony. That kind of felt a little weird because if that wasn't there, you could potentially stand there and see the stage, but we don't know because the merch tables were there.
But where else would you put it?
Yeah, I don't outside maybe. If it's good weather,
that could be,
and not windy and blowing shit all over the place.
So it does seem like outside in the beer garden, they have like a container. Like that's out there. So I don't know if that's a bar or maybe where they do merch
or restrooms or something.
So that's kind of cool that's out there. And then also like along the edge of the building is what I consider like it's almost like when you go to a baseball, like a little league baseball game, and they just have a hut that they sell food and stuff out of.
Oh yeah, that's what I thought. It seemed like that's where the bar would be, like an outside bar. Yeah.
So or otherwise maybe one of those little squares could be a merch stand as well. So
yeah, but all in all, really cool venue. I liked the radius. I liked this. I like the radius better, but this is a smaller venue for sure.
Yeah,
and
for a small venue, I think it was done well.
Yeah, and I really like the fact that we have small venues popping up that aren't Live Nation. So,
so 100% awesome.
That is very awesome.
Yeah.
But we've been talking a lot about the venue, mainly because it's our first time at this venue. So just want to talk about that a little bit here.
Yeah, when we go back again, we probably won't talk much about it. So.
And I don't know, we might do 666. We were going to do that on venues. We haven't done it in a while, so maybe we need to pick that up again.
Yeah.
666 is just our other like YouTube series we have.
Yeah, it's just a short one topic
intended
series.
To be short.
Intended to be some of them are like 25 minutes, but it was supposed to be done in 6 minutes and 6 seconds. They just take a little bit, like the venues just take a little bit of research. That's the only thing.
But I guess let's get into the sets.
Yeah. Let's
start with Nini. Yep. Now on Setlist FM, where we get these sets from, they don't always have music for the bands, especially like the opening band if they're newer and whatnot. Nini's definitely one of those cases. Their set lists aren't really up there, but for Chicago they have 3 tracks listed, and for Minneapolis, which was I think the next night, they have 4 tracks listed with some overlap. So what they have here real quick for the Chicago is Homeland and Ganby. Ganby.
Yeah, I think that's Cheers.
Okay.
If I remember the whole.
That's the drinking song?
Yeah, that's the drinking song.
Gotcha.
I think that's Cheers.
And then Baby One More Time, the Britney Spears cover. I do remember that song. And then in the Minneapolis one, they have Longma, Can't Help Falling in Love, an Elvis Presley cover, and then Ganby and Baby One More Time as well. So I will add these tracks to the set list, even though they're not necessarily on the Chicago one. But
I'm sure that they played
loved their set so fucking much.
I did too.
That I really wanted their set list to be available so I could add them to our set list. The female lead guitarist or instrumentalist,
Nini. Yeah.
Is that her name?
Yeah.
Nini?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And one of the vocalists as well is from Taiwan, I think it was.
No. Yeah, Taiwan. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
she's from Taiwan.
Yeah.
Plays traditional, what I assume are traditional, like Asian.
Yeah, like Asian Cantonese instruments.
Yeah. Really, really fucking awesome.
Yeah.
And then you have the American singers who do like the drums, the bass, the guitar, and some vocals as well. And the vocals,
yeah.
Super fucking cool. I love this set so much.
And we're such suckers for like the traditional instruments. Like if you come out on stage with a traditional instrument, we're gonna love you pretty much. Like it's awesome.
Like a non-traditional.
Oh, what I mean by traditional, I'm saying like
to your region or to where you're from, your culture and whatnot.
Yeah. Sorry.
Same with like speaking in a different language and whatnot. Like we love the non-English songs when people sing in that.
Yeah.
Because it's something you don't see or hear that often. Yeah. So definitely a sucker for that for me.
And I really liked how she was center. I mean, it is kind of like her performance, but she was center, and like even when she would play those instruments, she would even come, I felt like, a little bit more center. And it kind of reminded me of like the Who, where they are center and like the drum and the guitar are in the back. Like, so the native instruments are
prominent. They like, we want you to focus on this and hear this. Yeah. And you definitely picked up on that. You definitely heard it.
Yep.
I liked the vocals of her vocals, and then sometimes the male vocals coming
with
in
the English
and with the English and with the
I guess she's saying in English sometimes too.
She did, yeah.
Yeah.
But like hearing the 2 vocalists sing, and she got some really deep growls in there as well. So it was a good sort of weird mix of different styles and genres sort of melding together, and a really fun, interesting set. And they put on a great show.
Yeah, I wish that it was a little bit longer. I mean, because she only did like the 30 minutes or whatever for the opening set, and some of that was just not banter, playing like kind of the play and repeat with the guitar and her.
Oh, they did do like the cutting head thing. Yeah.
So, and I'm thinking that could be just because the catalog's small.
It could be
just to kind of use up the time. But that was kind of cool to see as well. But I would love to see them again and with a larger set
for sure,
or another set. Yeah.
And after the set, you were like, we went through a rabbit hole on YouTube one night.
Yeah.
Well, as we do sometimes.
Yes.
Listening to music videos and whatnot.
So generally what we do is we'll sit on the couch and we'll just start YouTube on like one particular song that we might want to hear or something. And then we just let the algorithm sometimes go down a rabbit hole until we think of something else that we want to listen to. And so go ahead.
No, yeah. That's like we went down the rabbit hole and we found these, this woman playing these traditional like Asian instruments. Yeah. And like, holy fuck, this is awesome. Yeah. Like doing covers of shit.
Yeah. And it was like shot really well too. Like performing like on bridges and buildings and like it was just, and like even one was like through a forest or something. It was just so interesting to see. And like it really caught us. Like we kind of went down that rabbit hole of watching.
We watched like a lot of those videos, and I honestly forgot about that.
Oh really?
Until you brought that up, and I was like, wait, what? I was like, oh shit, that's right, we did.
Yeah.
But the music was great. I loved their music this night. As I said already, like the drums were fucking awesome. There were moments where I was like, this seems like it was a very epic of a song. And like I could see this being in a movie. where the camera's panning across this like valley somewhere in Asia, and then you see this guy on a horseback riding, and then the camera turns around and it's Matt Damon in like a rat tail or something, because got to use a white actor for all these Japanese.
Of course, yeah.
But that's sort of the vibe I got watching, like hearing this music. I was like, holy shit.
Like at the concert or on YouTube?
No, at the concert.
Okay.
It's like it was very epic sounding.
Yeah. So we didn't really finish the whole YouTube thing.
Oh,
but
yeah.
That night that we kind of went down that rabbit hole, we ended up on her videos, on the Nini videos, or her collaborating with other people. We didn't really say that.
That's what I was, sorry.
Yeah, that's what you're alluding to, but we didn't really say it.
I didn't call it out. Yep.
And it was about the middle of the set where I was like, I think I knew we hadn't seen her in concert, but I was like, I think we've seen her. And I was like, oh, I think it was that night that we went down that YouTube rabbit hole. So,
yeah. And so this really dovetails really well into why we went to this show, is because when we saw it, it's a Folkfest of the North. And we're like, holy shit, this is going to be a bunch of folk metal. We love folk metal, like Helvetii, The Who, Ignia, like all of these sort of folk metal bands from Europe and Asia. Like, there's some really, really great fucking shit out there, and I want more of that. And here they are, a folk fest. Holy shit, this is awesome.
Yeah. And we didn't know any of the bands.
We listened to some of the bands a little bit. And Nini comes out and she's playing, and they're playing. And I'm like, fuck, this is awesome. This set the bar for the night for me. I was like, fuck, if your first opener is this good, I can't wait to see what the next folk metal that we're going to hear tonight is going to be. And I guess if there's nothing else for Nini, maybe we get into
I can't wait
next.
to see her again. Her with like the Who would be awesome.
That would be cool.
I think that'd be really cool. So.
But next we have Trollfest. Why don't you read off their set list?
Yeah, and even the names will kind of allude to what the performance was. But so they started with Dance Like a Pink Flamingo, Flamongus, Essenfest, Ava Marie, which is a Charles Ground cover, 20 Miles an Hour, Captain Chaos, Ilsent, Rekispill, Pina Colada. And I'm sorry, this is a probably Norwegian word, Norwegian name. Genteren Mat
Stroman. Genteren Mont Stroman.
Yeah, we'll go with that.
Okay.
It'll be on the screen on YouTube. All Drinks on Me, another Norwegian word probably. Espen bin Askeladen. And then they ended with Helvets Hunden Garm. And I apologize for those Norwegian pronunciations that I cannot do.
So there was a guy in the audience who had this like pink flamingo cape costume thing on. Yeah. And he was running around through the night for Nini a little bit. And when they're setting up their stage, Trollfest, sorry, I keep saying Trollfest. When Trollfest is setting up their stage, I see that they have a bunch of pink flamingos on this like little snare drum thing up front. And then I was like, the backdrop had a bunch of flamingos on a beach. And I was like, okay, this is going to be fun. I'm going to enjoy this. This is going to be like pirate metal, right? Like this is going to be Elstorm going on here. So I was kind of excited for it.
I was interested.
Okay.
I was interested. That's how I'm going to put, like, going into it.
Then they came out, and I remember in the band was dressed in these pink flamingo sort of things. One guy had, like, actually a unicorn costume of some sort.
With tutus on. Everybody had tutus on.
Which, whatever. Yeah. It's a costume. You're doing your thing. You're putting on a show, and this is part of the show. I like their
glow-in-the-dark
the like neon,
not glow in the dark, but the neon face paint. That was kind of cool at first.
And then they started playing Dance Like a Pink Flamingo, and I quickly lost interest, and I'm not sure why. Yeah, I'm really not sure why. Yeah. I don't know if it was the costumes, if it was the music, or what, but it was probably the third track or something that I'm like, I gotta go to the bathroom and get another beer or something. Like I'm not doing this. I'm not enjoying this.
Left the
floor, went up, and just sort of wandered the venue a little bit. And again, it's a small venue, so we just kind of ended up hanging out in the back by the bar. And as we hung out back there and listened to the music, I honestly really did enjoy the music. I do like their music. I liked their tempo, and they would do funky shit where like just the change in tempo, and they have a saxophone player like and a keyboardist. So like they did some really funky, really cool shit.
Oh, an organist. Didn't not organ. What's that thing called?
Not bagpipe. What's
that thing called? Accordion.
Accordion.
And an accordion.
Did they have an accordion? There were a couple accordions there this night.
No, they
I can't remember what bands necessarily had the accordion. Yeah, the accordion. You're right. So like they did a lot of really cool, funky shit in their music. And
there's a lot of people on the stage. Like there was a lot of energy.
The crowd was super into it.
Like immediately the pit opens up with kind of like pit dancing kind of in a way. Not like necessarily. I mean, there was an actual pit, but it was kind of like a pit dancing at first. And like it is really, really fun music. But I was almost the same thing or same like mindset that you had. Like after like the second song, I'm like, I'm over the gimmick.
Yeah, I don't
know what it is.
I don't know either. Like there's plenty of bands that have gimmicks to them.
Yes.
I do know, and I will say like Gwar for me is a band that I used to hate, honestly.
I still do.
I've seen them a lot more recently because they've been at festivals and we've been there and like, fuck it, I'll just go check out their set. And it wasn't until this last time at Knotfest, Iowa that I watched their set and I was like, I think I'm finally understanding and I'm really liking this. And the live show was just fun because it's a show. It's like, it's not taking itself seriously.
Yeah.
And this is the same way. And I just wonder if I see them again after like, 2 or 3 times. Then it will finally start to click with me. But this night it didn't. And I don't know why, because the music was fucking great. I loved the music.
I do remember saying, I think that this would be fun on like...
on a beach.
I think I said like on Headbaker's boat or whatever.
Like a boat, yeah.
Like, and I don't know if it is that Gwar aspect because we did... Like, I've seen Gwar twice.
More than twice.
Well, I've been at shows where it's been there more than twice. But I've... seen them. Well, I guess Rockfest we saw them too. But
they were
what
there.
I'm saying, like where I've actually watched a set was at Riot Fest and on the boat.
Okay.
On the Headbangers boat. And I think that's where I was like, oh, this gimmick could be well performed on a boat. Or I would prefer, like, I would watch it on a boat as one of the sets.
Definitely like the flamingo aspect of it.
Yeah, like the beach aspect, like you're on a cruise or whatever. So I don't know. It was fun. It was like the music is fun. I just lost the appeal.
The Congo line was fun. The bassist comes out.
I don't remember that.
I can't remember when that was either.
Yeah.
But they send the bassist out in the crowd and they end up doing a Congo line around the venue.
Yeah.
Which was a lot of fun to stand there and watch that.
I have to admit, it was a very smelly line that walked by us.
It was probably everybody who's in the pit and they were going hard.
Oh, yeah.
And
then you all get in line and you're passing somebody.
Yeah. I don't know. I really, really did enjoy the music. And by the end of the set, I was definitely starting to come around to it a little better. But at the beginning, for some reason, I don't know what it was, but there was just something like, not like, this is horrible, but more like, I'm good. I don't need to see this right now. I don't need to hear this right now.
I thought about that as well. So, because I was talking about this with my friend at work, at the office on on Friday, the next day. And I think I had a stressful week and I wanted, I was happy for live music, but I wanted more heavier music, I think. And just this night that wasn't there for this. And I think that might be another reason why I kind of got not turned off on the Trollfest music, but I just couldn't get into it because I felt like I wanted something different.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I don't know what it was for me.
I will see them again if they're on a bill.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if I would necessarily be like, oh my gosh, Trollfest is coming to Chicago, let's go see them. But if they're on a bill somewhere or at a festival somewhere or something, I'll check them out again.
See, and I don't know. I don't know what it was that turned me off. I don't know if it was sort of the costume aspect of it because, I mean, I went to see Max Sabbath, which is definitely very gimmicky and very cheesy.
Yeah.
No pun intended, I guess. But,
cheesy. Would you like cheese with that?
Yeah. Well, no, fries with that.
Oh, I remember asking at Burger King, like,
really?
Would you like cheese? Yeah, because like they'll be like, "Can I get a Whopper? Would you like
Whopper
cheese with that?"
cheese, gotcha. I don't know. Whatever.
I don't know.
In any case, but that one I was like on board right away and didn't have any complaints whatsoever. So I don't know why all of a sudden it would have been the aesthetics of the band here. And again, the music was great. So there was just something there, and I don't know what it was. I can't put my finger on it at this point in time. But like I said already a lot, I really liked the music and enjoyed their music because they do some really cool fucking shit. But I don't know. Maybe I just need to listen to it more ahead of time going into it.
Yeah.
Because when they would announce a song, the crowd that knew the song was super fucking pumped and amped and ready for it.
Right. And they do sound like fun, like songs that you could like dance and sing and everything too. Like the whole crowd. I mean, not the whole crowd, but a lot of people in the crowd were. So I don't know. Like, yeah, I think we just need to check them out again.
Yeah. But then, like I said, with Nini, like I got super excited and ready for like folk metal, but this wasn't folk metal. So I was like,
maybe that was part of it too.
Maybe.
Yeah. I mean, it could be considered folk metal in some way.
Maybe.
And I did look them up on like Wikipedia, I think. And it seemed like they maybe have different, like depending on what their show is or maybe their album that's out at the time, but they had different like costumes on sometimes.
Oh, really? Okay.
So I'm thinking that maybe they just have, it depends on what the album is,
what album they're supporting,
what they're touring,
and how they dress up and whatnot. That makes sense. Okay, I could see that then. All right, but all right, something I still want to check out down the road again.
Oh yeah, I would check them out again. Yeah.
But maybe it was that folk aspect of it. But then we get to Ensiferum.
We might not be saying that right. But.
Might not be. Apologies again.
Yeah.
And they're set. So why don't you read off what they had?
Yes. So they started with Fatherland, Twilight Tavern, Treacherous Gods, Winter Storm Vigilance, Lele Hay, The Howl, From Afar, Andromeda, Victorious, Wanderer, Rum, Women, Victory, In My Sword I Trust, and they ended with Two of Spades.
I like this set a lot.
I like them much better, and we even like started to move forward, like more forward during their set. Yeah.
I wouldn't necessarily call this folk metal per se either. It seemed definitely more power metal.
Power metal, yes.
Definitely power metal vibes.
And so this is the band that I think had the keyboardist, if I remember right, and he would also do vocals every once in a while, and that's where I got the power metal type vocal from.
Yeah.
But definitely like with the speed and like just everything, like it did kind of go more towards power metal than folk metal for me as well.
Yeah. No, I definitely got that power metal vibe, especially with like Rum, Women, Victory, and In My Sword I Trust.
Yeah, it has that like that cadence that power metal has. Yeah.
And we were back by the bar. The bar crew was getting into it a little bit. It seemed like one guy was wearing a death shirt.
Yeah. I heard that bartender say to somebody like, "Oh, tonight I was able to like dress like I normally dress. And
really?
I didn't have to like."
Okay.
Because I'm assuming for other like it seems like other shows are like more poppy or like different
rap or
like rap
EDM.
type, like that type of music. So or even like acoustic and stuff like that. So I'm assuming he doesn't dress with like band shirt or like metal shirts. So for him to be able to kind of dress how he sees fit, or like how he wants to.
And I did see him come over to a couple of guys who were really into this band and knew this band pretty well. And asked them about Rum, Women, Victory, about what, because there's a chant part where everybody says those words in the crowd, Rum, Women, Victory, like you just say it over and over throughout the song. And he like asked them like, what are you guys saying? And then they had to like tell him, and then he went and told one of the other bartenders, like whispered in her ear like what they're saying, and then like, okay, we got it.
Yeah.
So that was kind of fun to watch that.
Yeah.
I like watching the people working the venue get into the music. It's very enjoyable to me when I see that happen.
Yeah. I forgot because I was going to mention this when we just recorded our Disturbed episode from Milwaukee because we're a little bit behind on our shows just from how the week was going. But during that show, one of the security guards near the stage was headbanging
Oh, really?
To Disturbed.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't see that, but yeah, that's awesome. I love, like I said, I love when I see the staff and the security get into it.
Yeah.
A little bit. I understand like the security has, the job they need to do, but it's still fun to see them get into it.
As long as they're doing their job and
it
is fun.
What else about this? Lele Hey was a lot of fun. I did like that. In My Sword I Trust was fun. But yeah, I enjoyed their set. It came off more power metal than folk.
Yeah.
So again, I was like, I really wanted more folk metal in this, but whatever, this is fun.
Yeah, I think for me, I was a little turned off for the night from Trollfest, so it took me a while to get into them.
Yeah.
But definitely by the end, I was like, definitely for like the last like 5 songs or 6 songs. Yeah.
Yeah, and they also played for quite a while, but I do think this was sort of presented as like a co-headlining almost.
Yeah, I think so too.
At least that's how we have it in our spreadsheet, is listed as sort of a co-headlining. Yeah. But a good, solid, lengthy set as well. This one did start super early too.
The show?
We didn't really talk about that. Like, it was listed at 5:30. We were unsure if that was doors or set time.
Yeah.
Typically the time on the ticket is the time the show starts.
Yeah.
So then it's an hour before that. So it's like 4:30 were doors. We're like, what the fuck? We ended up getting there a little after 5:30 and they still hadn't opened the doors.
Yeah.
So that must have been the door time.
Yeah. I don't like those venues that don't put if the time on the ticket is doors or the show.
Or if it's different. Like like 90% of the time that's the show.
That's the show, yeah.
Yeah. And if it's not going to be the show, they should call out like, this is doors.
Yeah.
Even on their website, it didn't have anything listed, which was a little annoying. I do like the websites that do definitely put up like doors are this time.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Especially for us, we like to get there by time the first band goes on.
Yep.
So I know that there's some people who only care about the headliner, so they're not even going to get there till like 9:00 anyways.
Or the band they're there to see.
Yeah, or whatever band they're going to see. So I think it's helpful to know what time the show's starting, or at least what time the doors are.
Yeah. But I think a lot of the crowd were here for this band.
Yeah.
Because after their set, it cleared out a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. I noticed that too. Like some people were leaving after the set. So
is there anything else we want to say about their set then, or just dive right into the next?
I don't really have like the last 6 songs, and you already talked about like Rum, Women, and Victory and In My Sword I Trust. Those are the 2 songs that I also thought were like very power metal sounding. But other than that, like there's nothing that is like sticking out to me 100% that I like.
Yeah,
I remember.
And those 2 songs in particular for me are what stand out, mainly because that seemed to have the most crowd participation and interaction.
Yeah.
Which was, I love those type of songs. Yeah. And again, if I knew the words going into it or knew the lyrics going into it, I would have been prepared for that. And I wasn't, so I didn't participate as much as I could have potentially.
Yeah.
But next time I will.
Yes.
Because they were still good. And I still want to see them again as well. I liked them much better than Trollfest. And again, Trollfest. No, don't know why that is. I have no rationale for why it was. It just is. It just happened.
Yeah.
But then we get to our other headliner. But then we get to our other headliner, which was Korpiklaani.
Korpiklaani.
I like
I'm probably saying it wrong.
That's better than whatever I said.
Yeah. So before we started this episode, we pulled up all the set lists, and I am going to make the executive decision that I'm not going to try to read these songs. Like, we'll just put them up on our YouTube. Otherwise, you can go to Setlist FM if you're listening on podcast and find the set list. But I just think I would be disgracing the Finnish language if I mean, some of them are total English, like A Man with a Plan and Happy Little Boozer, like the English words, but
and tequila
and vodka,
which tequila is Spanish, and probably not English.
But anyways, I just don't want to do that to the Finnish language, so I'm gonna make the decision. We'll put them up on the screen right now, so you can see them as I'm talking through this. But otherwise, go to Setlist FM and check out the Chicago show to see what they played. So
yeah, and I guess getting into the songs that stand out. When they came out, I was super excited because they had an accordion as well, I believe.
Yeah, and either a violin or a viola. I'm not sure.
One of those two.
Which it is. Yeah.
Probably a violin.
Or fiddle. Was it a fiddle?
It might have been a fiddle.
Yeah, probably a fiddle. From the sound of the music, it's probably a fiddle more than a violin.
And the interwebs probably have the answer for us.
Per Wikipedia, it's a violin.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, it could have been a fiddle as well, just from the tempo and the sound. Yeah. Because this is total, in my opinion, what I think of when I think of folk metal. Like their sound. What do you think?
Yes and no.
Okay.
More folk power metal, I would put it. Because I definitely got more of a power metal vibe. There were definitely folk elements to it. Nini for me is folk when I think of folk metal.
Oh, okay.
Nini, The Who, Helvetii, Ignia, those bands we mentioned earlier. Like, to me...
Well, yeah, because you say that with Bloody White's considered folk metal as well. And you don't think... You don't...
No, I would say that. Folk new metal, for sure. Because they're new metal with folk.
I remember before you were like, that's not folk metal.
Oh, no, I thought... I've always considered... In my head, I think I've always considered...
Okay.
If I said otherwise, I don't know what the fuck I was talking about.
Okay.
But yeah, no... There were the elements of folk metal for sure, but there were a lot of power metal elements for me as well.
Okay.
So not just straight up folk, but there were a lot of those elements. But
I think we did look them up on YouTube at one point, and so I think that might be where I'm like, okay, I remember this this music, and it just had the sound and the vision and stuff that I was expecting.
And I think when we first bought the tickets for this show, we were going through every band and just listening to like one track or something from each band, and then going to the next song or the next band, just to get a vibe for them. So we may have picked up one of those folk metal tracks for sure.
Maybe.
But other than that, like, I didn't know who they were going into it.
No.
But I did know who they were.
Oh.
Because when A Man with a Plan came on, I like turned to you and like, I know this song.
Yeah.
I know this song because it always comes up on my Spotify when I'm on shuffle. And same with Vodka. Vodka's always on that shuffle as well. Yeah. I don't know if Tequila is, but A Man with a Plan and Vodka for sure
so
always
it's probably because you like listen to Ailstorm, and there's another band that comes up on that as well. So I wonder if it kind of goes with that vibe. So then it's like, oh, if you listen to this, you might want this.
Yeah, and I think that's what it is, because Vodka always comes up first, I think, and The Man with a Plan.
Because you listen to the rum songs.
Yeah, well, that and just even like, just as you said, Ailstorm, and then it transitions into that. And that's, to me, Ailstorm is kind of power metal as well. Like, it's not Viking, it's pirate power metal, basically, right? So,
pirate metal.
Pirate metal, sure. So when A Man with a Plan came on, I was like, holy fuck, I know this song. I know this band. I like this. Fuck, that's awesome.
Yeah. And we had moved up to like the sound stage at this point.
Yep.
So we were a little bit closer to the stage. I liked their vibe. I liked their image. I liked the energy and the personas and everything that everybody was giving. I just thought it was a lot of fun on the stage as well.
I did too. And there was a couple in front of us as well. And this is like what I mean, like the crowd cleared out because he would look behind us. And for the other bands, it was like packed.
Yeah, like you couldn't walk through the hall, like the area between the wall and the bar very well.
Yeah.
And that's the part that I was saying, like with the stairs, sometimes it was hard to get up and down the stairs.
Because they had that barrier that funneled you all the way up, and then you had to go all the way back down.
Yeah.
But I looked around during this, and there was not nobody, but like there's a lot more room.
Yeah.
But this couple in front of us, when this band started playing, like, she got super fucking into it. She was jumping up and down constantly, flinging her hair all over the place. Like, she was having a blast.
Yeah, there was plenty of room for her to move around too. So yeah, it was a lot of fun.
And there was like another little girl next to her. I say little girl, like she was shorter. She was probably
another woman.
Yeah, another woman.
She was not a little girl.
Another woman was there, like next to her as well, also getting super into it and jumping around as well. I thought that was fucking awesome, seeing them get so fucking excited for this.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that was awesome. Happy Little Boozer, that was a fun song as well.
They did have fun, like with like A Man with a Plan, like they had like a backdrop for that. Happy Little Boozer, they had a backdrop. Like every couple songs, they have like a different backdrop that they would put up. One of them was bombed out buildings with a little girl on a swing and then a sea of sunflowers. And I immediately thought, that has to be Ukraine.
So maybe. In the end, they had a giant peace sign that was in the Ukraine colors with sunflowers around that as well.
And that's what I was going to come to is like at the end. And so that kind of took me back to like, oh, that image. And I'm like, I bet it was like with Ukraine or whatever.
Yeah.
And the bombed out buildings are like gray, but like black and white gray color. And then like the sunflowers are so vibrant in
Gotcha.
that photo.
So it's like it was a black and white back. Like the image was black and white with the sunflowers being like the only color element.
Yeah. Sorry. Well, our camera died. And I think I was talking about the image of Ukraine.
What you think references?
Yeah.
Ukraine.
Well, I think references Ukraine. So
with like the black and white image with the sunflowers being the only color.
Yes. Yeah.
Sort of like Frank Miller's art in Sin City almost.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. And I don't remember what song that came up during. So
gotcha.
Yeah.
I do remember a lot of those backdrops changing as well. A lot of what I assume they're from Finland, right?
Yeah, they're from Finland. Yep.
So a lot of like imagery from Finland with like reindeers and whatnot.
Yep.
The nature, the wildlife and whatnot.
A lot of Santa Claus like characters drinking. I remember those.
There was
like cartoony.
There was definitely some
cartoony.
cartoony ones. There were some that I didn't think were that good because like the lead singer was sort of depicted in it.
Oh.
But it felt photoshopped, like they just threw his head on there, so it didn't look quite as
I didn't notice
crisp.
that. Yeah.
And not like trying to say this in a bad way. Maybe that's the intent there, but I was like, that looks kind of weird or odd to me.
Okay.
But some of them were really good, and like, it seemed like some of them had a theme going on as well. So I don't know if there's like an overarching theme to their music and in their catalog, like a mascot or a story.
Yeah, that's true.
That they're trying to tell or depict with this, or if these are scenes from like the album covers or something. I'm not that super in depth into their catalog, but I've really enjoyed their energy. I really enjoyed their sound. Very unique, stuff you don't necessarily hear all that often.
Yeah.
So I was super on board. I was super into it. I do wish it was more folky. Like going into it, I wanted more folk.
Yeah, like Nini.
But different areas.
Yeah.
But it was still fun. I still enjoyed their stuff. And as I said, to me, it was more power metal-y than folky. But I did get that folk bits as well.
I think their energy is definitely what would bring me back. Like if they come back to the U.S. again, I would definitely go back and see them because of the energy that they gave. I thought that was like it was just. It's just something that you could get into even without knowing the music. I mean, granted, you found out that you knew 2 of their songs, but I mean, it's just kind of like one of those things where you can kind of get into it and not have to know the music. So
for sure,
or have fun and not know the music, sort of thing. So
and it felt like their set went super quick.
Yeah, it did. Yeah,
but they played 19 songs.
Yeah,
and their songs aren't necessarily the shortest. But
the longest, you mean?
Yeah,
they're shorter songs.
They are a little shorter on the short side, like 3.5 minutes or so.
Yeah,
most of them. There are a few that are a little longer, but a good solid set, a good solid night all around. It did feel like the night breezed by super quick.
I got a little tired in the middle of it, so
yeah, you were kind of dragging a little bit there.
Yeah, we had a long week, so
yeah. But I had a blast. I thought this was great. I thought it was a great venue, a great show for us to go to the venue.
I'm excited to go during the summer to this venue and kind of see what the whole outside portion is. I don't know so far what they've announced. There's nothing that I would be, hyped to go see.
Yep.
Hopefully, it's almost the same with Radius though. There's only like 2-3 metal type shows that go to the Radius. So maybe that's just not the genre that they're going for, where, we do have like the Aragon, the Concord and Bottom Lounge and stuff that's seems to go more that way.
Yeah, I don't know why there's not a whole lot that it seems like that go to the Radius. I mean, the last time we were at the Radius was that Whitechapel Lorna Shore show, which sold out.
Yes.
So there's clearly an audience there for this, and they can clearly sell that venue, and it's a really cool venue. So I do want to see more metal there, and I think there's a few this year.
There are, we just can't make
them.
Yeah, we can't make. Like I think Machine Head's going there next time.
Oh, are they? Okay.
Yeah.
And that's one we can't make.
We can't make that. Now that I say that, maybe I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's where they're going.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, there's some shows there that are coming
that just don't work with our schedule right now.
Yeah, that we just can't go to. But I just even from like the bartender's comment on like being able to wear a metal shirt or whatever, like it almost seems like they're not catering towards metal.
Yeah, I don't know.
But it could just be the promoters too. Like they haven't booked anything. I mean,
it's
new,
that aspect of the business I don't know that well. There's a lot of Live Nation venues here in the city, so I don't know what those contracts are, but I know there's shit like that where, all right, you got to go to one of our venues type thing.
Yeah, which this was sold through Live Nation, the tickets, but it's an independent independent venue. Same with Radius. Like you buy the tickets through AXS, I think, but it's a private
We have
venue.
in the past bought them through AXS. I don't know if it's always through AXS or sometimes through Ticketmaster. I can't say that 100%. Okay. But yeah,
they're all owned by Ticketmaster, right?
No, AXX isn't.
Oh, it's still independent? Okay.
Yeah, it's the competitor to Ticketmaster. Wow. Yeah.
Fuck Ticketmaster.
But I mean, I don't know. None of them are great.
No.
But no, Ticketmaster for sure. And the monopoly of owning the venue and the ticketing.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. But no, I'm excited to go see this in, or go to this venue again in the summer.
Yeah.
And see what the whole outside patio thing is.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, especially if it's like, it'd be fun if it was something like, maybe if we're not that into it. I'm trying to think of like the Bad Omen show where we spent.
That was at the Salt Shed.
At the Salt Shed, and we spent a lot of time up on the roof deck, just like talking and enjoying ourselves during Era, and then we went back down to see Bad Omen. So I mean, even if it's a show like that, if it's nice, go sit outside for a little bit.
That would be fun for sure. But I mean, all in all, I enjoyed the bands with some exceptions there, as we said quite a bit.
Yeah.
But I still enjoyed myself all night. Like, all the music was great. Don't get me wrong. Yeah. All the music was great.
And it was a new experience for us. So
yeah, exactly. So I'm glad we went. It wasn't how I envisioned it going. I expected,
more folk.
Yeah. But whatever. It was still a fun night all around. So, and for $40, $45, not bad at all.
Well, it's advertised at 30, but
you know what I mean. Yeah. So I don't know. Good time all around, and it was just live music. So
it was. Yep.
Sometimes you go to something and you don't end up liking it, but whatever. You went to it, you experienced it, and you found out. That's the power of live music, I guess. So go check out some shows, and we'll hopefully catch you at the next show.
Bye.